JJ McCarthy goes to Minnesota. Maybe it's the disposition of Vikings fans versus Bear fans. I live in Minnesota, and I can tell you that Vikings fans have this they have this nihilism to them where they just assume the worst thing is going to happen at all times, which can be frustrating because you want to talk shit. You want to be like, oh, you suck. And they're like, whoa, we just knew the worst thing was going to happen anyway. Whereas Bear fans, I think, are a little bit more posturing and confident. But regardless, I think what isn't being talked about is the fact that you could probably make the argument that the situation JJ McCarthy is coming into is better than the situation that Caleb Williams is coming into. And therefore, I think the Vikings could be the surprise team of the NFC North this year and maybe not the Chicago Bears. But what do you think of this fit of JJ in Minnesota in the first place?
Yeah, I think JJ is a great fit in Minnesota. The only thing that I have a problem with in this pick is I don't know how much of an upgrade he is to Sam Darnold. With the weighing the fact that Sam Darnold has a lot of experience and can fit in right away. Like JJ McCarthy, I think, is a really good quarterback, but Minnesota has other needs, and it's kind of like I don't see JJ McCarthy's upside as the same as Penix's upside. To see where like the Falcons took him, they're like, we're gatekeeping the Saints, we're taking him because we want him to be our guy. We have a really old quarterback. Like, I don't think that Sam Darnold's that much like different today. So if this is an investment in JJ McCarthy for the next 10, 15 years, if that's what you're seeing him as, that's one thing. But today you're in a division that has the Lions who went to the NFC Championship, the Packers who were a game away, the Bears who definitely have a way better roster than you. Is JJ McCarthy going to move the needle as much as somebody else does with Sam Darnold? Like, what if you had taken somebody else that is a stud at that spot? Would Sam Darnold be a better player than JJ McCarthy will for you? Like, that's kind of how I like to view it. So I think it's a great fit if you take Sam Darnold out of the equation, but you were able to get Sam Darnold for a really cheap contract and you had a top 15 pick. You could have went somewhere else with it for this year, but people just love taking quarterbacks, dude, and they love taking them all the time. And
we are trying to get to the number one Sam Darnold podcast. I don't think there's anybody that's pushing the Sam Darnold agenda more than we are, which I'm okay with. I don't hate the guy, except he's on the Vikings, but whatever.
Like, Sam Darnold is like Nick Mullins threw for 300 something yards to Justin Jefferson multiple times last year. Like, he threw for 300 yards and Justin Jefferson popped off. Sam Darnold is leagues out of Nick Mullins's, like, he's leagues ahead of him in terms of talent and what he can do with the football. Like, the Vikings are going to be fine. Like, they might not win a lot of games, but they're going to put up points on offense, and they have a good host. Like, their head coach who calls their plays, stellar. Like, they're going to be fine on offense. So, like, I don't think you need JJ McCarthy. Like, what you needed was some defensive players. Like, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
No, I get it. But I think you could also take your same logic with the Penix pick and say, hey, we're going to take our guy here. And it seems a little different because it seems like JJ could start right away. But the same logic would be
Sam Darnold's only 26.
If you love Sam Darnold that much, which I know you do, you could make the argument that they're not going to be picking this high ever again. It's a deep quarterback class. Let's take our guy, have him sit behind Sam Darnold, and then we have our guy going forward. And I think that logic probably plays out better here because McCarthy's younger. I don't know how you feel about his ceiling compared to Penix's, but I think it's probably higher.
Dude, I could see Sam Darnold this year having like a Baker Mayfield year where it's like,
let's go.
And then like, holy shit, okay, like let's go sign him to a big deal. Maybe it's not with them because they have JJ, but like at the end of the year, if like the Vikings are 9-8 and they just missed the playoffs, but like Sam Darnold wasn't their problem because their defense let up 50 points a game, Sam Darnold's going to get paid somewhere next year. And if that's the case, you know what I mean? Like, if Sam Darnold has a year, he's not going to stick around in Minnesota unless they're going to pay him. And then you're going to let a good thing go. Like, I always try to think of these things in terms of like a year or two ahead, not what like in the moment feels good because you want to sell JJ McCarthy jerseys to your fan base and like your stadium, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but that part
is this is a worse situation than the Falcons, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. That part is important too. Like, having some direction. I think it's just harder to sell Sam Darnold to your fan base. And there also is this unknown Justin Jefferson part of the equation. And I don't know has he signed his extension yet? That was sort of up in the air.
I'm not sure.
I think he was going to wait to see what they did at quarterback to sign his extension. And I think it's just a harder story to tell Jefferson or your fan base, like, hey, we're going to roll with Sam Darnold. I know we're big supporters of him here on this podcast. People forget he's only 26 years old, but at the same time, you do have to sell tickets. You do have to sell jerseys. You do have to make sure your
Little
best
hopium.
player, sits around or stays around, and maybe JJ McCarthy is the better story to tell there.
Yeah, and yeah, we can move on from this.
Okay.
I love JJ McCarthy. I don't. It'd be the same thing. Like if JJ McCarthy went to the Giants, like is that what the Giants needed? No. Like is it what the Vikings needed? No. Like and you also have to think in my this is okay. I'll say this one more thing. You have Sam Darnold here, and like he could pop off and really be a guy for you. If you signed him for 10 million a year, you thought you got a deal and you might have your guy. And then, oh, just because we have this pick, we're gonna take a quarterback. Where what about next year? What if you suck this year? What are the chances that the Vikings are not the worst team in the division this year?
I think
They're probably going to be the worst team in the
they could
division.
be. Yeah.
You're probably going to be picking top 10 again. You're probably going to be, or you're going to be picking top 10 next year. You're going to have a better pick next year. Is there not going to be some like sexy quarterback option next year that you're like, you know what I mean? And also, you have to think of like the free agent process. Like good quarterbacks are free agents every year. Like there are always options at quarterback, in my opinion, to where if you're not like 100% this is our guy or this is 100% our guy for the future, like they must think he's the guy for the future, because if not, that's a wasted pick.
Dude, why not just run the Packers pipeline back? Let's just get Aaron Rodgers in here. They're going to need a vet to come in. I mean, the funniest joke was the Vikings seem like they're a quarterback away, and they let the guy walk that could be a good plug and play option. So, let's just get Aaron Rodgers back in here and complete time is a flat circle and
Right.